welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following week. My name is Colton Brown, and joining me is Andrew Meadows.
Colton Brown, how are you, sir?
Doing very well. We hit quite the milestone just a couple days ago, and I sent you a little something along those lines, and, we just might as well say it. We've hit 10,000 downloads for this podcast. How about that?
That feels pretty good. It's staggering.
It's gratifying, isn't it? It's of course, 125 episodes to this point, this episode being 126th. It averages out to 80-ish, roughly, per episode. It's a lot of downloads. Doesn't mean everyone's listened to it all the way through or anything like that, but it's and it doesn't mean that each episode is exactly had 80 or anything like that, of course, but still, it's a staggering number, yeah. And not to toot our own horns or anything like that, but it's really satisfying to see. So a huge thank you to anyone that has been part of that 10,000 plus downloads. We really appreciate everyone's support. Anyone listening to this shares anything on social media, talks to their friends about it. It's all awesome when we all. It all helps. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to hit 10,000 without the support of everyone else. Thanks, Mom and Dad, of course, because we appreciate you guys listening as well. But it means that there's a few other folks out there listening too, and so that's really cool to see. We are talking on this episode about a film with, it's the longest title that we've ever had to deal with on the Watch, Review, Repeat podcast. So that's a sort of milestone in and of itself. The film in question is, wait for it, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn. It's a mouthful.
Got to be the longest title of any movie, right?
Yeah, longest title in movie history. Yeah, it's possible. I don't know. That's a good question. I didn't look into that.
I'm on it. I'm on the Googs.
It's very possible. I'm sure there's something that's got it beat just for the sake of having like the Guinness World Record of longest film title or something like that. But this has got to be sniffing it. It's got to be close. So yeah, we're here to talk about it. It's our first movie that we're talking about for 2020. Our first proper movie that we're talking about for 2020. We've been kind of bogged down in the year in review stuff, the look ahead stuff, but now we're getting back to the everyday life in the Watch, Review, Repeat podcast, where we talk about the latest in film and television. And here we're talking about the latest in film, which is in fact Birds of Prey. I think I'm going to talk about it as Birds of Prey from now on, unless you feel the need to. I mean, this might be a 4-hour episode, not because we have so many things to say, but because if we just say the title out loud every single time, it's just going to stretch it out inevitably. So yeah, we're talking about Birds of Prey. And do you have any fun facts or anything related to Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous? So you get it.
Well, fun fact number one is it's not the movie with the longest title.
Okay, well, do tell. What is that? Your research has come up with something?
What little bit of research I've done. IMDb lists Night of the Day of the Dawn of the Son of the Bride of the Return of the Revenge of Terror of the Attack of the Evil Mutant Hellbound Flesh-Eating Sub-Humanoid Zombified Living Dead Part 3.
So presumably that is a parody title, I would have to guess, just based on the ridiculousness of it.
Came out in 2005. Part 1.
And then this is part 3, right? So are part 1 and part 2 titled similarly, or?
Wow, Ben Affleck directed a long title movie. Directed by Ben Affleck. It's the first feature film director. I killed my lesbian wife, hung her on a meat hook, and now I have a 3-picture deal at Disney. It's a 16-minute short directed by Ben Affleck.
Huh. Well,
what?
Well, there you go.
I don't know.
All right, so Birds of Prey doesn't take the cake, as we now have learned.
It doesn't take the cake. I've gone off on a tangent.
All right.
I was going to say that I thought that WB changed the title of the movie, but you corrected me before we started recording this.
So there were some reports that they had, and then WB ended up denying it, I think, within a couple days, because there were reports that they had changed the name from the very long title that we've now said too many times to Harley Quinn: Birds of Prey or something like that. I think something along those lines, right? Like a kind of like an awkward name, but something that front loads the Harley Quinn part of the title instead of putting it at the very end, which, given this movie's existence and what it is, that would totally make sense. Yeah, I mean, it's a Harley Quinn movie, and it's not any secret really from the marketing, and it's sure as shit isn't a secret from minute one of this movie either. So the titles, it's weird because, you know, so WB's excuse, I guess, for anyone that didn't see that, is they're denying, you know, we didn't change the name, we just changed it so that it would appear as, you know, Harley Quinn being the first kind of search term within like movie theater apps and stuff like that. You're trying to book tickets, you're like, oh, what's the Harley Quinn movie? And it's, you know, the 19th word in this title, and you can't figure it out because Birds of Prey doesn't tell you anything about a Harley Quinn movie, right?
Right.
So that's their kind of logic, I guess, is that no, it's just to make it easier for consumers, which is probably largely responsive to the fact that it didn't do super well, which we'll also talk about. So
another thing is when you Google it, if you Google the full title, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of Harley Quinn, over on the right side of Google, it's just Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey.
Yeah, it's that, and I've seen it just Birds of Prey. You know,
Right.
I've just seen it just shortened to Birds, because I think initially it was Birds of Prey until they revealed the full title. Yeah, it's all a bit of a mess. I don't understand why they didn't just call it Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, like, you know, like a real Indiana
Right.
Jones kind of style name. I think would have been. I mean, I get it. It's meant to be quirky and like, oh, it's so Harley Quinn to title this movie this way, but like, marketing is a real thing, and like, you know, again, we'll probably talk about it when we talk about the movie itself, but hey, maybe this wasn't the best title for the movie, is my hot take, and that's certainly not the first one to offer it. So anyway, yes, it's a bit of a mess. Who knows? Just call it Birds of Prey. It's fine. It's not a Birds of Prey movie, really, again, as we'll get into, but fuck it. Why not? You know what I mean?
Why not? Exactly.
So yeah. So anyway, we'll talk about Birds of Prey, the Emancipation, the Harley Quinns. We'll talk about it all in just a little while, because we're going to talk about some news up front. I want to get into the winners of the 92nd Academy Awards, the Oscars. Did you happen to watch the ceremony by any chance?
I definitely did not. Did not watch it.
I didn't think so, but I figured I'd ask, you know, just to be courteous and such.
Yeah.
Did you see who won the thing? I mean, did you go back and like look at the winners and think, ooh, good pick, or ooh, what the fuck are they thinking there? Ooh.
Just from what we discussed in our group text.
Okay. I have to say, I ended up watching it. Didn't think I was going to. Ended up watching basically the whole ceremony. You know, expecting certain things to win, and you know, just bracing myself for the worst of like, oh god, here comes that Joker sweep. You know what I mean? And I was very pleasantly surprised it didn't happen. It was a fun ceremony. They went hostless again this year, so it's, you know, it honestly makes it flow better. Like there's no one person coming back to take the stage to make bad jokes and then repeatedly doing it, you know. So it's
right.
It's got a good flow to it, a good feel to it, and I kind of feel like the Academy somehow did not fuck it this year. I mean, I was across the board extremely pleased with kind of how well it seemed like they picked. You know, I didn't agree with every winner, of course. You know, it's never going to happen, but I really, really feel like there was no like bizarre, like, what the fuck, what is this? You know, there's no Green Book Best Picture kind of snafu. There's
Right.
no Bohemian Rhapsody winning Best Editing kind of like, what do you even, did you watch these fucking movies? You know, like, I never had that real thought come across. So I'm just going to run through some of the winners, because I think, honestly, like, they're all pretty good calls, and I'm very happy with it, so I'm kind of happy to talk about it a little bit more, but I'm just going to spit some out. And again, I think across the board they did a really good job recognizing things that were worthy of recognition, and of course, certain things. I think Knives Out won absolutely no awards the entire night, which is unfortunate, because I think it's a great film.
Yeah.
But it was nominated for a lot, so it clearly had recognition. And there's stuff like The Irishman, which I did happen to watch finally after we recorded. Also got shut out, and having seen it, I'm thinking that's probably a good call. In my humble opinion. But Parasite got an original screenplay win for Bong Joon-ho and Han Jin-won.
Definitely deserves that.
Jojo Rabbit, Taika Waititi won for adapted screenplay. Very happy to see that.
Never saw it.
1917 got visual effects, got sound mixing as well. Ford v Ferrari, I think, won a couple awards. It won sound editing.
Okay, I can see it.
And I think, what was the other one? I think it might have won just editing in general, but
Ad Astra was nominated for that, wasn't it?
I'll check on that. What was that?
Ad Astra was nominated for sound editing, wasn't it?
Yes, I think it had at least one or two nominees on the.
That's good.
Had a sound mixing
Gotcha.
nomination for Ad Astra. Yeah, so Once Upon a Time in Hollywood had a production design win. Parasite won the best. I think they're calling it the best international feature film of the year.
Okay.
It used to be the best foreign language film, and they've since modified that. Bombshell won for makeup and hairstyling, which, the way that they turned Charlize Theron into Megyn Kelly was ridiculous. I didn't even see the movie. I just saw the trailer, and I was blown away by that work. Joker did end up with 2 wins. One for the score. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce this woman's name, but good on her. And Joaquin Jaquan Phoenix won for Best Actor. Which is deserved, If you're gonna throw Joker a few bones, then I think that's totally fair.
Yeah, that would be one to throw.
Ford v Ferrari did in fact win editing, just overall editing as well. And then Bong Joon-ho won for Parasite. Roger Deakins, of course, won for 1917 with cinematography, as if there was any doubt, of course.
Right.
Little Women won for costume design, which is definitely a good call. Toy Story 4 got the Best Animated Feature Film
Okay, yeah.
Totally deserved as well. To beat out Dragon, of course, but it beat out Frozen 2, which wasn't even nominated. Damn shame. Laura Dern won for Marriage Story for Supporting Actress. Renee Zellweger won for Judy for Best Actress. And then Brad Pitt won for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for Best Supporting. And then Parasite took home the Oscar Gold Best Picture of the Year. Fucking Parasite, man.
Nice. Deserves
totally
it.
Blown away. Yeah, I mean,
it
deserves it. It's kind of weird because it's technically the first film that's won the best foreign. Basically, there's the foreign language film, which now turned into the international film or whatever again it's called. It's the first time that any film has won both of those awards in the same year for the Oscars, so it's really kind of groundbreaking. Mm-hmm. It's technically not the first time that a non-American film has won. The Artist won, I think, back in 2011, 2012, and it was a French film technically, but it was also a silent film. So
a silent film won Best Picture of the Year?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty artsy.
Yeah, so... Yeah, it was very artsy. Good movie. People don't really like it these days, but I haven't seen it since then, but I really enjoyed it back then, so I imagine I'd probably feel similarly now. But yeah, Parasite, man. Parasite was just... I know your 1917 was your shit, and I respect that stance, and I fully expected it to clean house. I mean, I expected Sam Mendes to take home the directing award, and I expected...
No, but Parasite...
I expected it for motion picture, but just to see Parasite awarded in the way that it was just very gratifying for me, and it kind of felt like course correction from the way that they fucked it so bad last year, I guess. Throwing something like Green Book the best picture was just...
What?
Yeah. So I was pleasantly surprised, as I said, with kind of how things turned out. So that's kind of the Oscars in a nutshell. Really, I mean, for me, not anything that was so egregious. I still would have preferred that Joker been shut out entirely just because of my enmity towards that film, I guess I should say. But again, it won in the categories where I'm just kind of like,
okay,
fine. If Todd Phillips won Best Directing, it'd be like, fuck off. You know what I mean? But like for what it did, ended up winning. I really am not mad at any of it. So it's nice. It's nice to not just be look. And I should take a step back and say, it doesn't fucking matter, right? It doesn't. In the scheme of things, just because something does or does not win an Oscar is not going to impact my enjoyment of a film, nor should it impact your enjoyment of a film or anyone's enjoyment of a film.
But it does.
But it's still gratifying. It's still gratifying to feel like, this is the big thing. People pay attention to this, and Parasite's gotten a huge box office boost since its win.
Which is good.
It's skyrocketed.
That's what I was going to say. If the Academy starts nodding towards these kind of movies and stuff, the creators get the recognition they deserve, and perhaps maybe we get more of it, which is awesome. So
yeah, so that's yeah. I think that's a really good point. Is it may not impact my enjoyment of a film, but at the same time to know that now that it's getting recognized that people are going to strive towards this because they know that it can get recognized. That means we're just going to get more along these lines and more creators just really putting their all into things. So
get better stuff.
Yeah, it makes filmmaking in general just better across the board. And why wouldn't you want that, of course? So anyway, yeah, that's the Oscars. So what else you got? You got some news over there?
Yeah. I will start with a rumor. I guess it's a rumor. There is talks there's talks about Sam Raimi potentially directing the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which was originally going to be a Dickerson movie. Is that
a Scott Dickerson joint?
Yeah.
Scott Dickerson / Derrickson joint?
That's it. Which I think if anybody's going to direct something like that, well, I think Sam Raimi's got the chops to have the comedic relief and the horror aspect. I think he can kind of tote that line, which is pretty cool. He's a pretty creative dude.
Yeah. So it's not a rumor. He is very much officially in talks. However, he just hasn't, as of now, signed on the dotted line.
Is that right? Oh, okay.
So he's not 100% doing it or anything like that. But Marvel has definitely been in communication with him, and I think it's an upgrade if it happens. To be honest, I mean, no disrespect to Dickerson, Mr. Dickerson, of course, but. Sam Raimi is fucking Sam Raimi,
He started
Evil Dead, man, alone. And I know this is supposed to be like horror tinge, horror inspired, not a straight horror, but kind of a horror flavor to it all. And that's Sam Raimi's shit, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
He also knows superheroes. I mean, Spider-Man, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Say what you want about Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2 still fucking exist, and I think his comic book sensibilities are very strong and his horror sensibilities are very strong. So to kind of marry those worlds makes perfect sense, honestly.
It's a good pick.
I think it'd be a huge get if he does end up doing it. And I think he's talked about it in years past, saying that he would be open to working for Marvel again in the future. And if this kind of comes to fruition, I think that'd be really good. And he hasn't directed a whole lot recently either. Like I know he did Oz the Great and Powerful, but that was almost like 7 years ago, I think, and I don't know if he's directed anything since then. I think he's been doing a lot of like producer type stuff.
Is that right?
I'm sure he worked on the Evil Dead show to some extent, if I had to guess. But
I think he produced it, right?
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think he's just been kind of working on, in a producing role on a lot of stuff. So to see him maybe step behind the camera, once more to, for the first time in several years, I think it'd be really exciting to see that. So I hope it happens. I really do hope it happens. I think it'd be great. I think we're excited for it one way or another. How could you? This is another long title, I guess I should say. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It's not as long, mind you, but it's a badass title, and it's one that gets me excited as opposed to the Birds of Prey title. Just to kind of pit those in comparison. But yeah, I hope it happens. So Sam Raimi, Doctor Strange 2. We'll see. We'll keep you guys updated. Hopefully he signs on the dotted line. I think Scott Derrickson basically, gave his approval on Twitter, being like, sucks that I can't do it or whatever. But
if he can
Sam
do it,
that's taken over. Then I, I'm cool and I stand behind it. Oh, there we go. I found it. I've worked with Sam Raimi, one of the nicest people I've known in the film business, and as a director, a true living legend. What a great choice to take over Doctor Strange. So I mean, that almost makes it sound like a done deal. But it's good to see that, whether it was creative differences or whatever it was that basically ended up with the departure of Derrickson from the Doctor Strange project. It's nice to know that clearly there's not that much bad blood, I guess you could say. He seems to be at least taking the high road, if nothing else. And I think that's a strong choice, and I'd appreciate that. So, yeah, we'll see what this project ends up. We'll never know what it once could have been. It's Ant-Man all over again with Edgar Wright and stuff. But either way, I think with Sam Raimi, we're in good hands. If
you're always in good hands with Sam Raimi,
so.
For sure. So
yeah, I have some news.
What do you got?
I have some news about a sequel to a film I just mentioned, which was shut out of the Oscars, but nonetheless was incredible, starring the exploits of one detective Benoit Blanc.
Mm-hmm.
Knives Out officially getting a sequel.
Excellent.
I know Rian Johnson, writer and director of Knives Out, has talked about his interest in doing one, and Lionsgate has kind of given it the green light and said, let's do it, which it's done really well. I think it just crossed $300 million, the worldwide box office, which for
That's
a movie
awesome.
that surely didn't cost that much to make in spite of its incredible cast. I think that it was a huge success for them. Of course, it makes sense that they'd want to do it. What does this mean for Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy? That's probably never going to happen at this point. It's probably never going to happen, but I will happily tune in to another adventure
Absolutely.
with Benoit Blanc. So yeah, I think kind of the idea is, it's Daniel Craig coming back with a new cast, a new murder mystery or a new mystery. I don't know if this has to be necessarily has to be murder. Probably be a murder if I had to guess, but
he's essentially it's going to be the original take of the Agatha Christie shit, right?
Yeah, basically
two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is cool.
So I think that's the perfect way to handle it, is take that character and just drop him into another setting, another cast of characters, another mystery. Like that's perfect. Like keep him the same and keep his weirdness identical. That's what made Knives Out so funny at times. I mean, the rest of the cast was great too, but like his interactions with them were really what kind of drove it. So, it'll be sad to not see the likes of Ana de Armas back and such. But I think this is absolutely the way to go, because I think where would you go? Where would you go?
That story's been told.
You either leave it alone or you really kind of just change it up entirely. And I think it's so fun to have the opportunity to play with this character again, so you should do it.
Do you think you get the prequel with the case that made him famous? That'd
be interesting.
Or do you think you get?
I think we'll get something after this, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do that at some point. Like if they wait and then go back.
That'd be pretty cool.
But I also think it'd be kind of funny if they just waited so that Daniel Craig actually looked even older, and they just ignored that fact and are just like, yeah, this happened 20 years ago, and he just looks like he's 20 years older.
Give him the
what was that
guy's name?
The Netflix show, Wet Hot American Summer. I think they did like a Netflix follow-up, which was a prequel, but everyone was like 20 years older, and they're just like, don't worry about it, it's fine. It was part of the comedy of it. I enjoyed that. So yeah, Knives Out sequel happening. No timetable or anything like that. I don't think Rian Johnson has written anything or much of anything, if nothing else. So I think it'll be a few years. So maybe Star Wars happens in the interim, but I would say don't bank on it. I think we'll get other forms of Star Wars, aka The Mandalorian, Obi-Wan, Cassian, maybe the Kevin Feige, Taika Waititi movie or whatever. So
lots of good things to look forward to.
Indeed. Any other good things to look forward to?
The French Dispatch, the Wes Anderson movie. This movie is talking about star-studded casts.
Yes, very loaded cast.
Yeah, stacked, and it's a Wes Anderson movie. It looks incredible. The trailer looks
very Wes Anderson.
Yes,
incredibly Wes Anderson. It's peak Wes Anderson in its own sort of way.
But it is, it's not subtle in any way. It definitely looks like an entertaining, thought-invoking film, though. I think it's probably going to be hilarious, and it's going to be good.
Yeah, the humor looks definitely. I don't know. It's interesting. I guess it's doing kind of a few different stories, kind of bundled into one kind of setting, where the French Dispatch is I guess a newspaper that's kind of publishing the stories, and we'll presumably get the look into these stories visually, given that it's a film and such. It looks fun. The style, Wes Anderson is very, very distinct, very unique in his filmmaking style, unmistakable, I guess you could say as well.
Beautiful cinematography. I mean,
but it's beautiful. Yeah, it's great. A lot of we got some black and white, we got some color, we have shifting aspect ratios, it looks like, and just the mise en scene of it, of just the color, the usage of the colors, the framing of the actors, the set design, the production design, I guess maybe that's what I'm searching for. Like it's really impressive. It's always impressive. And you stick this cast in front of those sets, and
I didn't talk about it.
Movie magic, I think. Oh, I'll name them. I have it in front of me. I don't know if you do.
There you go.
Otherwise, I don't want to steal your thunder. I can go for it.
I do it. I got it.
Oh, you got it. Go for it.
I got it right here. Benicio del Toro, Adrian Brody. We've got
Adrian Brody.
Bill Murray. We've got Elizabeth Moss, Timothy Chalamet.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Edward Norton, William Dafoe, Christoph Waltz, Tilda Swinton, Liev Schreiber. Rupert Friend. I don't know who that man is, I don't think. Leah Sudol. Is that right? Did I pronounce that right?
Close. Leia Seydoux.
Seydoux. Leah Seydoux.
Mm-hmm.
What about de France? Cécile de France? Is that right?
I'd have to see it. Yeah, Cécile de France. Yeah, that's probably.
Cécile de France?
Cécile de France. Yeah, something like that.
And I think that's about it. I mean...
Yeah.
Oh, no, you can't beat about Timothy Wright. Did I say him? Or is it not Timothy Wright? What's his name?
Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright, that's his name.
Jeffrey Wright. Yep, Jeffrey Wright's in there. I don't know if you said Owen Wilson as well.
I did.
I mean,
yep.
Oh, you did? Okay. All right, good. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I can't even keep track of what the fuck you said. There's so many names in this cast. It's insane. Frances McDormand, you might not have said as well.
No, I didn't say her. Yeah, I can't forget her.
So yes, incredible cast. Looks very quirky, very funny. Perhaps not for everyone, but I think it's safe to say it's for us.
Definitely for me.
I think we can look forward to this one, July 24th. Kind of a nice midsummer movie.
Oh, Alexander Desplat
doing the soundtrack on it again.
Yep,
nice.
That's good.
Nice. We got a front runner for the best score of 2020 already. We haven't heard a lick of it, or maybe we have. Maybe it was in the trailer. I don't know. I guess we'll see. So yeah, any other thoughts on the French Dispatch of the Liberty Kansas Evening Sun?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Another sort of long title. I don't know if they're going with just the French Dispatch or if they're going with the full title. Okay. Let's see. You want to talk about the fucking Batman?
Yes, the Batman.
We have our first look at the Batsuit with Robert Pattinson filling it out. Matt Reeves, director of the upcoming The Batman, just coming out and posting, some test footage of the fucking Batman.
Yeah, we get a Henry Cavill kind of treatment.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, bathed in red light. We get our look at the bat emblem on the suit. We get some kind of shoulder guards, it looks like. Some pauldrons, maybe.
Yeah, kind of cool.
And we get a partial look at the cowl. And it's all set to Michael Giacchino's score, which he has confirmed is newly composed music for the film. So what'd you think of the Batman? Again, we don't know what the ears look like. We didn't see the full cowl. We didn't see basically below the chest in terms of the bat suit. We didn't see the arms and stuff like that. So it's limited in terms of what we can see, but of what you could see, what'd you think?
It looks like practical armor.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Like plating of some sort, maybe?
Yeah, it looks very much... I'm looking at it now. It looks like... Looks like a Daredevil.
I think it looks like
treatment.
Daredevil.
Right.
Yeah, it looks very Daredevil, I think, which isn't a bad thing. But I think the cut of the cowl is really what kind of... Just the way that the nose guard and everything kind of fits, it looks very of Netflix Daredevil in terms of style. It gets kind of... I can't quite tell if it's leather or exactly... Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we have seams kind of on the cowl, so it looks a little bit more homemade, maybe.
Definitely, clothed up, with the exception of the body armor. Right. It reminds me of... Do you remember that Batman anime thing that came out?
Batman Ninja or something else?
No, it was like... what was it? Batman cartoon with different directors.
Sounds kind of vaguely familiar, but I'm not...
curious about the... Batman Gotham Knight is what it's called.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
And there's a series of different Batman costumes in there. It reminds me of one of those. But either way, I'm curious to see what kind of angle they're gonna take this Batman. He doesn't look as like big and robust as like a Christian Bale Batman.
Or certainly a Ben Affleck Batman.
Or a Ben Affleck Batman. Right.
Yeah, well, I think I've heard that this is kind of expected to take place kind of year 2 of the Batman, like year 2 of his Cape Crusading career. So kind of early stages, which kind of maybe makes me think this is like a proto suit in its own sort of way, where it's a little bit, it really is kind of cobbled together, and maybe we'll see multiple suits, maybe multiple iterations of the suit throughout the film as he kind of upgrades it.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. And obviously the fact that Robert Pattinson is certainly younger than Ben Affleck suggests that they are kind of pushing in a different direction from a Batman that's been around 20 years, branding criminals and such, to someone that's a little bit newer to the game.
And I will tell you that after watching The Lighthouse, that was his first. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything other than Twilight.
Sure.
And with that being said, he definitely has some acting chops. So
for sure. Yeah, he's been crushing it of late. I mean, really, I'm sure he's thankful that Twilight was able to kind of launch his career, and that it, gave him the opportunity to kind of do the weird shit like The Lighthouse and such. But now he's coming back, to put on the cowl and become
what do you got with that bat
larger than life
logo,
character. So
it's a weird logo, isn't it? Like the insignia on the chest.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the material of it is a little bit stranger. I mean,
it's different. It's a different.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool looking suit though. At least
I
from
think
what
it looks
we can
pretty
see.
cool. I'm curious to see kind of the full look of it. Again, we're kind of so limited what we can actually see here. I really do. I mean, it's a weird sort of thing to say maybe, but like just even literally seeing the bat ears, I think is going to make a huge difference for how like the cowl looks. Like,
right.
Like I can tell like, oh, he's got a good chin for being Batman. I can tell that from what I'm looking at, but I'm really curious to see just kind of how it fits with the ears. Are they going to do long, kind of shorter? How are they going to do it? I really think that will kind of impact the shaping of the cowl and kind of how it looks. So I don't know. I trust Matt Reeves. I kind of I'm very excited about this project. I trust all parties involved. I'm excited about Robert Pattinson's involvement as Batman. I think he's going to do a really good job with it. So it's cool. I think it's cool to see a little bit more on this front, and seeing a new Batsuit, it's always exciting. Even if BVS didn't turn out so hot, just seeing that Batsuit, for the first time was kind of just being like, oh, that's the fucking Batman right there. And I kind of get similar feels here, even though it's a very different kind of Batsuit.
Still cool though. I mean, every Batsuit's going to be a little bit different, so.
Yeah, definitely still cool. So yeah.
That's Batman.
That's the Batman. What else you got? Another trailer maybe?
Altered Carbon.
Oh, back for a second season, is it?
Altered Carbon 2 is what it says on the title screen.
Yeah, but it says season 2 on the YouTube. Like I don't know if are they doing a Stranger Things thing? What are they doing here?
I don't know what they're doing, but I tell you what they did do. It looks like they're cranking up the budget. Shit looks fucking good.
I did think it looked pretty good. I think the first season looked pretty good too, in all fairness. But
it did.
It definitely
got
looks
Anthony
like they're
Mackie.
not holding back. Anthony Mackie as Takeshi Kovacs, yeah. And he's fighting himself at the end of the trailer.
And he doesn't even know it.
He's fighting the Will Yun Lee, kind of version of Takeshi. I guess that's his original version. I need to watch a recap of season 1. It's been a hot minute since I've seen it, so I kind of don't remember the fine details. But I think this is kind of like its own sort of way, a soft reset. Obviously, there's no Joel Kinnaman, and I think that it's kind of moving settings. So it's kind of doing a Knives Out sequel type thing of, yeah, it's the same guy, but we're going to throw him into a kind of a different environment. I guess we see like his old partner, trainer, or whatever it was, pop up and one point in the trailer and stuff like that. But for the most part, I think it's going to be doing its own thing, for this season, which I think is cool. And I'm kind of curious to see how it turns out. Definitely looks like they've put some serious dough into it, and I appreciate that. It's the kind of show that kind of needs that, I think, to really sell itself. It
looks cool. Looks really cool, man.
February 27th, you gonna be checking it out?
I will be checking it out. Yeah, I'm running
it's
behind.
Not very
on my TV
far away
shows.
at all.
No, February's the end of February is going to be busy with Star Wars and you get Clone Wars. I still have to finish The Expanse, but yeah, I'll be watching it at some point.
All right, good. So, any other thoughts on it? Or you're just looking forward to it?
No, I'm just looking forward to it. It looks cool. I enjoyed the first season. This one looks like it might be good.
well-cut trailer. Looks like we got some good action, good cinematography, and cool. Just the coolness of it coming back. It was a cool first season, and the world's cool. I'm excited to see more of it. So yeah, I'll be in. Yeah, I don't know if I'll see it quite on February 27th. I don't know if we'll have a chance to really cover it again like we did season 1. But if we can slot it in, then certainly it's something on our radar. So yeah, all right. Well, I have, I think, one last piece of news on my end, if I'm not mistaken. I do in fact have one piece of news left, and that is the fact that we now can listen to Billie Eilish's James Bond theme, which is aptly titled "No Time to Die." And you have or have not listened?
I will not listen.
You will not listen? Are you just skipping the movie? What are you doing?
No.
You protesting the James Bonds?
No, I just like my James Bond experience to be one that is, I get the trailers, and then I get the movie, and that opening sequence there is it's just it's not emotional, but it's a thing,
an experience.
Man.
You want to preserve it. You want to save yourself for it.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I'm going to do.
I respect that.
Yeah,
I did no such thing, but I respect your viewpoint.
Well, was it good?
I really like it. I think it's good. Yeah,
good.
I think
it sets the tone for the whole movie. So
it's we talked about like what's it going to be like, and it's Billie Eilish with a little James Bond flair. It's exactly kind of what I wanted out of it.
Pretty
I'm
cool.
I'm pretty happy with it, and I think you'll dig it. If I had to guess, so
I like Billie Eilish. I like her well enough.
I like her a lot. And like I said, it sounds like her. It doesn't sound like she's trying to do anything too different from her usual style, which I think is good. But it does have, kind of some James Bond, like orchestral flares in it that kind of give it a little bit more Bondian kind of profile to it. In the same way that Skyfall and Writings on the Wall kind of had that. It's certainly closer in tone to those than it is to a Chris Cornell, You Know My Name, of course, but it's a low key kind of whispery type song that's typical, I think, to Billie's style. But I think it's a very, very good version of that. And
right on.
I think we'll have to see how they handle the visualization and how it fits into the movie and the theming of it. But yeah, I think it's good. Again, I think you'll like it, and I think Billie Eilish was a really, really good pick for it. So I'm very excited to see what they do with this film, which is
just around the corner,
a couple months away. Yeah, April. It's early April too. It's like, I guess I just thought it'd be like a midsummer movie, but it's not. It's like kind of the pre-summer type thing. So
good placement. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to not have to wait super long on that. So yeah, that's what I got. One last piece of news is on your end, another trailer.
That's it. And this is the trailer. I have to say,
trailer. Saving best for last. Is that what you're doing?
That's exactly what I did.
All right, well, tell me about it.
It's called The Green Knight. It's coming from a little studio called A24. Which makes some
little studio. You might have heard of them.
Yeah,
make some good films.
Make some real good films. Mm-hmm. And this is I tried to read a synopsis on the story that it was based on.
Yeah.
But it's and I didn't finish it this morning. I ended up getting sidetracked. But it's based off of a King, or they call it something. It's called a particular thing when it has to do with King Arthur, but it's a King Arthur tale. But it's not about King Arthur. It's about one of his knights of the Round Table.
So it's a poem called Sir Gawain and the Green Knight.
Yes.
This is the kind of original story that this movie is drawing from, I guess.
Do you know anything about the original story?
Nope. I don't know anything about it, other than apparently people were excited that they're making a movie around it. So
yeah, it'd be really cool. I what little bit I know about King Arthur, I think it would be really cool to take a good, especially if it's in this vein. This is a super, super pretty looking movie.
Yes.
Awesome looking trailer. The fucking, just the way everything's framed. That opening sequence with the crown coming down on top of his head and his head coming on fire was just ridiculously awesome. I'm super, super stoked about this movie.
I mean, just like the typeface, like in the way that's integrated into the trailer is just fucking cool.
And then that whole thing there where the camera turns on its side.
Yeah.
So cool. The badass looking Green Knight, I guess.
Yeah, we got the little Green Knight at the end.
Giant ass axe. I don't know what's going. The wolf. There's a not a wolf but a fox howling or something. Next
there's
to
like
some
a giant
dude.
hand coming over a mountain as well at one point.
It's like all sorts of crazy nonsense.
So I don't know what's going on in this fucking movie. It looks completely insane.
But the thing referenced the trailer referenced the director. I don't know who the director is though. He didn't ring a bell immediately.
David Lowery is the director. He's worked on. He did a Ghost Story with Casey Affleck. I don't know if you saw that.
I don't think so.
I didn't see that either, but I feel like it was maybe good. I think another A24 film. The Old Man and the Gun. Haven't seen that one. I did Pete's Dragon for Disney. I didn't see that, but I heard it was pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
I don't think I've seen any of his works. Oh, apparently interesting. He's apparently doing Peter Pan for Disney as well. Like an upcoming live action Peter Pan. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just from a quick glance, it seems like all the stuff that he's done has reviewed well. So I guess maybe that's why they're touting his name, and maybe we just must not be in the know.
Well, I tell you what, though, I mean, if his other movies look as good as this one, this is definitely something worth watching. This one also has the lady, I don't know her name, but the fucked up lady that the Robert's wife is in this movie. Not Robert's wife.
From Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Lysa Arryn.
Yes.
Is that you're talking about?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yep. Alicia.
Sir. It was Robert Arryn, right? That was the husband?
It was. You're right. Robert Baratheon.
Yeah, so it was.
Yeah, I was close. I was good.
Yeah. It was the right first name. Yeah, I don't think you ever said Baratheon actually either. So you're totally right. My head jumped to Bobby B.
It always drops to Bobby B.
It's always about Bobby B. Yeah, it's Dev Patel is playing Sir Gawain, Alicia Vikander, Joel Edgerton, Barry Keoghan, and Ralph Ineson is playing the titular Green Knight apparently, which is cool. He was like the main guy and the Vivitch, the witch.
Oh, is that right?
Like the father.
Yeah. Okay, you're right. He was
Sean
in the
Harris,
ballad.
King Arthur. Kate Dickie is the name of the actress that plays Lysa from Game of Thrones. She's playing Queen Guinevere. So, yeah, cool cast. I mean, you just look at the fucking poster, man. You see the poster for this? It's just such a stylish, cool.
It's fucking
everything about this. Just everything about this marketing is just
on point.
Give it to me.
The Green Knight.
May 29th is when we will finally get the Green Knight. Yeah, it's interesting, man. This is a movie. I think French Dispatch is another one where. We didn't talk about these at all on our last episode, about like, here's what's coming out in 2020. And that's what's kind of fun is, I didn't know shit about this movie until this trailer came out. And now that it's out, I'm just like, oh, this is climbing the ranks of things that I'm really, really interested to see. So
it's a really badass looking crown.
It is. It's a very badass looking crown.
Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm getting sidetracked. I just want to look at it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a safe bet to say that we'll try to cover this one. I mean, looks pretty fucking cool. All right, that is it for the news, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
So Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Don't you forget about that part. Written by Christina Hodson, directed by Kathy Yan, starring Margot Robbie, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Journey Smollett-Bell, Rosie Perez, Chris Messina, Ella J. Basco, and Ewan McGregor. After splitting with the Joker, Harley Quinn joins the superheroes Black Canary, Huntress, it's generous to call Renee Montoya a superhero, but sure, we'll go with it, and Renee Montoya to save a young girl from an evil crime lord. We'll touch on box office since we alluded to it a little bit earlier in the episode at the beginning. Disappointing. Just to be generous, I guess, in terms of box office receipts, I think this is set to be the lowest box office performer for DC. I don't know about ever, but it's like the lowest debut since like Jonah Hex, which was like a huge fucking shit show. It did a lot better than Jonah Hex. I feel like the headline's somewhat misleading, but like, yeah, it's lower than your Jokers, your Shazams, and Aquamans by a good margin. It did $33 million in its opening weekend. And this is a hard R film. Maybe it didn't need to be. We can talk about that if that's something that you agree with. But it did do number one. and has been dethroned by a certain blue hedgehog of late, which we'll talk about on another episode. But it did hold up decently well in its second weekend. I think it was only a 48% drop, but when you start at $33 million, you better fucking hope for not steep drops, otherwise you're in some real deep shit.
Right.
So right now it's sitting at $61.7 million domestically with a $145.2 million worldwide take. I think estimates say that it needs to hit 250 to kind of break even. So even if this isn't an outright bomb, because I think it'll get probably to minimally 200, maybe it'll scrape its way to 250. It's an underperformer, and it's one that feels like it's trying to prime. I would say not even. It feels like it's. We'll talk about it, I guess, more in spoilers, but it feels like it's trying to prime a few different franchises at least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By the end of the film, and I kind of wonder if the box office numbers will cut any aspirations short, but I guess we'll see on that front. As of now, nothing has been announced. I can tell you that. So yes, Birds of Prey, non-spoilers. You saw it earlier today. Did you happen to catch it IMAX? You just go regular with it?
Just went reg. Saw it at the Cobb because it was close. It was close.
All right, fair enough. And what's your take? What'd you think?
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
It wasn't as good as I wanted.
It's backhanded compliment, but sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about the marketing up front if you want.
It was terrible.
It was fucking horrendous.
It was. So it's at the bar very
horrendous
low.
Marketing. Right. I mean, you expected bad walking in. And I know I was like, I guess I'll set an open mind walking in. But I knew that, like, wow, this looks just like trash. And the title did absolutely nothing to help, as we've probably now talked about too many times. But, like, all of it just sounded try hard and it seemed bad. And so you're saying it's maybe not as bad as you were led to believe.
It's not as bad as what I thought it was going to be. And I thought it was going to be just shithouse. I thought it was going to be fucking terrible.
It's not Suicide Squad. We can say that, right?
It's not Suicide Squad. It is not a movie that I would. It's not a movie that I'm going to watch again. I can tell you that.
Okay.
I would say it's probably. I don't want to. It's choreographed cool. I enjoyed the choreography in it. The action sequences were tight. They were punchy. They were entertaining. It was entertaining fight sequences. I can say that. None of the humor stuck. If there was humor, I mean, I guess it was. There was off.
Yeah.
There was.
No, I think there's a good amount of humor to it. I think it's probably your mileage may vary type situation, and whether it lands or not. Which I think that's true of the Harley Quinn character in general, though. So I think that's a lot of it is you either dig Harley Quinn or you don't, and I kind of feel like that's not necessarily going to make or break your experience with this film, but I think it's going to play a factor. Yeah.
I think that the characterization of the Huntress, I don't know if that woman is just I don't know if she's a bad actress or if the character is just fucking weird, but Harley Quinn's weird and she's charismatic in a way to where you can, you know what I mean? I can understand why people like Harley Quinn. I don't think she's the funniest person in the world, but she's, like I said, she's charismatic at least. Huntress is just, I don't know what's going on with her at all. Black Canary was cool. I did like her. We can talk about Ewan. His W fucks me up. Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, McGregor. Yeah.
His character's fucking. How what was I gonna say? I have to say some of the humor did land well with me, and it was action humor that landed well, I should say. Just what happens to certain people and certain engagements and stuff I found very humorous.
Okay.
I enjoyed Black Mask and Zaz's interactions. I thought those two were kind of who was the actor that played him? Who's that guy? Zaz?
Chris Messina was the actor that played Zaz.
What's he from? He looked familiar. I couldn't place him though. I know
it's got a long list on the old Wikipedias, but he was in Argo. Did you see Argo?
Yes.
Argo, fuck yourself. Yeah, I don't know. There's probably a few things you've seen him in. He's probably just kind of one of those actors you see him pop him up and you don't actually know what it is.
I gotcha.
No. Well, actually, I don't know if you've seen him yet. I was going to say, he's got a main role in The Sinner, but I think it's for the upcoming season. So I don't know if you've watched anything from the third season.
Yeah,
but apparently he's in it.
That's exactly what I've seen him in.
Okay, well, there you go.
That's why he looks so familiar. Either way, so the characterization of some of these characters, they didn't quite.
It works better for others than as compared to the rest.
Exactly. The structure of the film was kind of whiplashy. It's not hard to follow at all. I just don't know. I just don't kind of understand why they would want to do it in the way they're doing it. I guess other than the fact that Harley Quinn's telling the story, which is, whatever. I can understand it.
That's the only reason why. That I can see.
The highest point of the movie, though, I think for me is just the choreography, the way they shot the fight sequences. Other than that, I don't know, I was just kind of bored. I didn't really care for the movie. Hotel movie. I say hotel movie.
Okay. I thought it was fun. I didn't love it. Some of it worked, some of it didn't, I guess. I guess my biggest complaint, and this is maybe somewhat unfair to Levy, but it was what I feared walking in, what I feared from the marketing, is that it was going to be a Harley Quinn movie and a Harley Quinn movie through and through, and it absolutely was. And I don't particularly care for Harley Quinn as a character. I find her largely insufferable. I thought Margot Robbie was excellent as this character, and that I felt like anytime she was on screen, I'm just like, I can't with this character. She was really good, and I think they did a much better job with her character here than they did in Suicide Squad, where she was just very poorly written, and I thought Margot Robbie was bad in that movie, and I thought that she was really, really good at it. Kind of like it felt like they tinkered with the characterization, and it made it work a lot better here. This movie's got kind of the right level of zaniness, I think, kind of throughout to kind of the manic nature of Harley Quinn. Like, this movie is kind of paced to match that. And I think for what this movie is trying to do, I think it actually does it all really well. This was not a movie made for me, and I acknowledge that and I accept that, and I'm happy that I had a decent 2-ish hours watching it, as opposed to feeling like I wanted to fucking do anything in my life except for watch the film the way that I did when I watched Suicide Squad. You know what I mean?
It's definitely
that was just a miserable fucking experience. Yeah. And this was totally enjoyable. It was kind of fleeting fun. I didn't think anything about it was amazing, and it wasn't blown away by anything about it. Maybe the choreography. I mean, I wouldn't say I was blown away, but I thought it was really, really well done.
It was engaging.
The way that, like, Aquaman kind of had a really unique kind of filmmaking style with a lot of its action sequences. This was not the same style, but again, also kind of a different style done well, I guess. And I think that they hired one of the John Wick guys to kind of to shepherd that, and I really think that it showed on screen. It's visceral, it's brutal, it's violent, maybe unnecessarily violent. I'm not sure this movie needed to be rated R. It's very much rated R. It's a rated R film, surely the way they made it. But I also wonder, did it need to be? Like, I think this movie would have made twice as much money if the 14-year-olds that would really, really dig this were allowed to see it without sneaking into it, and paying for tickets to, Doolittle or whatever the fuck is still playing these days that they can, get tickets for. So I think that was a little bit misguided. And the marketing, I think, was just a huge misstep. I mean, there's a better movie clearly in this that they could have advertised, but they chose not to for some fucking reason. The title, I think, was a nice way for WB to shoot themselves in the foot. And I don't know, but I think that it's really kind of fun to see a film that is written by a woman, directed by another woman, and stars a principally all-female cast. It's all women kind of leading the show here, and the men in it are fucking assholes. You have a huge piece of shit and a misogynistic piece of shit in Black Mask, and you have a literal serial killer in Mr. Zaz. So it's that's kind of it. That's kind of your representation. And I guess there's a few others that kind of crop up, but they're all kind of assholes or they're goons or whatever. You know what I mean? And so I think you don't really see this kind of movie. And I think that's neat. I enjoyed that. It's nice to see that kind of writ large on the screen. I think that was kind of a cool thing. I just more fundamentally have issues with, I guess, just kind of its depictions of characters. I think that it's called a Birds of Prey. It's not a fucking Birds of Prey movie.
No, it's a Harley Quinn movie.
Like, I think it's a Harley Quinn movie, and I think it's a Harley Quinn movie done well. And I don't want that, and I didn't want it. I didn't need it. I don't want it. Is what I would say. But I think for what it was trying to do, and this is me kind of trying to take a step back and say that just because I don't like this thing doesn't mean that other people shouldn't like this thing or that they won't like this thing. I think that's positively untrue. The fact that it's reviewing well is not surprising to me because I think for what this movie strives to be, it does it all pretty well. Some of the stuff fell flat for me. A lot of that kind of stems just to my respect for and my enjoyment of the Birds of Prey comics, and I'm just like, I didn't mind the Huntress stuff. I felt like she was kind of shortchanged in terms of just being a character. Instead, she was just kind of this look how brooding Batman is kind of character, and everyone kind of making fun of her for that. And I liked Canary a lot. I thought she was probably my favorite of the bunch.
Character for sure.
I don't know why the fuck Renee Montoya is in this film. I guess and I'm just like, why is she part of the Birds of Prey? I'm so okay, and I like Rosie Perez, and I thought she was good here, but I'm just like, Huntress is like a badass assassin. Black Canary literally is a superhero, and Renee Montoya is a cop that punches. And
cops are superheroes too, man.
Yeah, well, that's a take. And so it's just weird, it's like, and also why are they called the Birds of Prey? Kind of makes a little bit more sense if you consider the usual Birds of Prey group, which includes Batgirl, who is very much not in this film. But the villains are kind of, scene-chewing assholes. And Harley Quinn is her own sort of scene-chewing asshole. Because Harley Quinn is not a likable person. Is not really meant to be a likable person, I don't think.
They
I think she's an entertaining one, to follow, and it's interesting to kind of have her as a POV character here effectively. I think that using her as a framing device makes the narrative of this a little iffy in the sense that I think kind of what you're talking about, how it kind of cross-cuts, I think, between certain timelines and be like, oh, I forgot to tell you about this blood. It's like, it's a little cutesy, I think, for me. I think there's a way to make this movie that doesn't rely so much on that as a framing device that just doesn't feel as try-hard as I think as it ends up feeling in the long run.
I'm glad it's not.
Movie.
Oh yeah, I'm glad it's not. I was just about to say something along those lines. I'm glad it's not Joker.
Yeah,
I'm glad it's zany in its own right. It's just it.
No, it's actually kind of I would easily watch this 10 times before I'd watch Joker again. To be honest, I think this is just a more rewatchable film. It's a more entertaining film. And yeah, I'm happy to be pleasantly surprised by it. It's not my favorite DC film. It's not even close, really. It didn't. Again, I didn't love it. It didn't blow me away.
It's not the worst, though. It's definitely not the worst.
But it's a good cut. It's a cut above your Suicide Squads. It's a cut above your Batman v Supermans. I think it fits firmly in. I'd probably put a notch below the Aquaman and Shazam tier for myself, but I think it's not. It's close. It's closer to them. It's punching up a little bit closer to them than it is to the Drek of the DC extended universe, in my opinion. So yeah, solid movie. Glad it was not the disaster it appeared to be. Certainly. So your recommendation was a hotel movie. Is that what you're?
Yeah,
going
for
with?
me, it's for me, and like you said, it may not have just clicked. But for me, it's stream it, or like I said, I personally wouldn't stream it again, but if it was on in a hotel, I'd probably end up watching it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I'll say Blu-ray for myself because I think the quality of the film kind of stands out for me. Again, for me personally, I kind of actually feel the same way as you, where I'm not going to go out of my way to see this film again. I certainly won't see it again in theaters. I probably won't. I'd probably pick it up in a bargain bin, like Blu-ray type purchase, but I'm not going to go out of my way to see it again. I'd be more inclined to watch it if it happened to be on that hotel room TV, certainly. I think it is a good background noise kind of movie for me, certainly.
Yeah.
it doesn't overstay its welcome, which is nice. It's sub 2 hours, it's fun and everyone's having fun in it, and I appreciated that about it. So yeah, again, I'll say Blu-ray because I feel like I try to pick more in terms of quality. So I'm recognizing that this isn't a movie that I am particularly gravitated towards, and again, that's fine. It's fine. Not every movie is for everyone, but I think this movie has a lot of value. I think probably for women in general. I think it's probably a movie that's geared more for women to enjoy, which isn't to say that it's to the exclusion of anyone else to enjoy. I think there's certainly enjoyment to be found. But I think, even as this kind of sliver of representation, I think that it kind of works on those merits, and it's cool to see again. And I hope we see more in this vein. We got a Wonder Woman coming out, which I think is a little bit different. It's a little bit of a different flavor, probably closer to the flavor that I like from DC, that I want more from DC.
Right.
But it's also because I really like Wonder Woman as a character much more so than I like Harley Quinn, who again I find largely to be insufferable as a character in terms of her commanding. I think she's a small doses kind of character for me. I find her overwhelming as a character that's dominating the screen time. And I think that there's a way that this movie works where it's actually a Birds of Prey movie and Harley Quinn as a side story, as opposed to the opposite, which is what we got here. But what were you going to say?
I was going to say that I did appreciate them acknowledging the fact of what Harley Quinn's character usually, the like the personification of someone that's in that kind of relationship between her and the Joker.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? They didn't misrepresent that kind of what her character is supposed to be, which is pretty cool. I do like that. But anyways,
right.
Into the spoilers.
Full spoilers for Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Wow,
Three wonderful moments.
We just spent an hour expanding on how to get into spoilers because the title's so long. Sorry, I just had to get one more joke in there. 3 moments. What do you got?
3 best moments in this movie for me. First moment is when she jumps off the bar onto that guy's kneecaps.
Okay. The driver.
The driver. Four best moments, I guess. That was funny. That made me laugh.
Okay.
What was it? The other one. Oh, when she's running away and that big dude with the Mr. Happy. I did enjoy the little cutaways where they pause on each person, and she talks about how she pissed him off or whatever.
The grievance, right? Yeah.
But her and Mr. J, I guess, tattooed that dude's face. Look at my face. That shit was pretty funny. I laughed at that as well. What was the other one? Oh, when they're fighting the people in the police station. That whole sequence was awesome.
When Harley's going through, or
when Harley's fighting the people in the evidence room, and she gets the bat.
Yeah. The bat. That was cool. There's the part where she breaks the leg the one way and then breaks it the other way and then kicks it back into place. It's fucking brutal.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I laughed at that one too. And then of course when what's his face blows up off the dock. That made me laugh too. That was pretty I like how that last sequence he was all manic and he was wearing his eyeliner. His eyeliner was super caked on there and stuff, and then he just goes absolutely batshit. So anyways, those were my favorite parts, I guess.
Yeah, there's some good calls in there. Yeah, I think there's
when the Huntress was practicing her lines, they call me Huntress or whatever. I thought that was pretty funny.
You like that?
I did like that.
Yeah, I get. Well, and just I guess to jump on the Huntress, I kind of felt like, again, like it was like trying to be like so self-serious, and that was like the joke was like how serious she was taking herself in a movie that was very much not that. So she's she was basically just being Batman, in a movie where everyone's just like, lighten up. What the fuck are you doing over there? Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I kind of wish we got more. I mean, I guess maybe it's a shock for people that don't know things about Huntress to be like, oh my god, that one scene where the whole family gets gunned down. It's the daughter. Okay. I mean, as soon as I said the word Bert and Ellie, I just I knew what happened. But that's, again, just as someone that is familiar with the Huntress character and Helena's sometimes murderous ways, that it wasn't really shocking for me to see that. But I kind of just didn't really feel like there was any depth to her character. It was really, she was just kind of the one note of, look how serious I am, and, you know, it's not a bow and arrow or what, you know, whatever. Like, you know, it was funny as kind of, I guess, a way to offset her from the rest of the cast, who are a bit over the top for the most part. But I just kind of felt like, in the way that we got a lot of moments with Canary, with Harley, even with Montoya, like, we didn't really get that with Helena. Like, she kind of just showed up, and even literally, like, by the third act, when she shows up, she's like, oh, this guy's dead, I'm just gonna leave now, see ya. Like, that was just kind of her role. Like, and I didn't really feel like she was very tangential to the plot, and she just kind of happened to be there by mostly happenstance in the third act. Mm-hmm. Which kind of, I felt like this movie took too long to get to the whole thing of
the pacing,
the team kind of being established. Like, it's,
but at the same time, it wasn't a movie about the Birds of Prey.
And again, you know, I'll sound like a fucking broken record on this point, but don't call it Birds of Prey. It's as simple as that. I mean, it's false advertising is what it is. And, you know, yes, I suppose it's an origin story where Birds of Prey are now a team at the end with, again, Renee Montoya in there for some reason. It's fine, I guess. But the thing is, like, this movie, I think it tries to set up a Birds of Prey spinoff, or a sequel, I guess, technically, because this is technically called Birds of Prey. I think it sets off Harley in a different direction, where she's now emancipated and she is separated from the Birds of Prey. She's not part of the team, right? And I feel like we're not going to get either of those movies, you know, because of the way that this one has been doing and is doing and was marketed. And it's just like, yeah, you had a real opportunity to kind of have a fun jumping off point, a good springboard for these things to happen, but you fucked it, you know, not in terms of execution, but in
your
terms
advertising
of, like,
team
in terms of selling that to people. Like, you sure as shit didn't fucking sell us, and maybe we were not the target audience for this, but still, like, I kind of just feel like, you know, the fact that they can't even hit their target audience to get asses in seats, it's kind of strange, you know, like, that this movie isn't doing as well. I mean, given that Suicide Squad did so well in considering how bad it was, I don't know if maybe that poisoned the well, in the sense that people saw Margot Robbie's Harley and said, oh, fuck no, I'm not watching that shit again. I'm not falling for it again.
They probably saw that in conjunction with the
maybe
trailers.
There's a part of that. You know, but then they're making a Suicide Squad sequel, which is called The Suicide Squad. So I'm curious to see if that's going to, like, bomb spectacularly because people hate the fucking brand or something, or not. Or I just don't know. Like, or if maybe that movie actually looks entertaining in marketing and not like a pile of shit like this one did. Maybe that's the difference. You know, I guess we'll kind of have to see on that. But I just, there's a lot of kind of directions that this movie tried to go, and I would have preferred a more streamlined take on the Birds of Prey separated from a Harley Quinn movie. I think it's fine to make this movie, but it's just not what I would have wanted. I would have appreciated them to bring in. I would have appreciated if they brought in Barbara, you know, to be Batgirl, but I guess it's kind of a weird situation of the Batman side of the universe is now kind of separated from the rest of the. They don't know what they're doing. And, like, you know, Joker is kind of its own thing, but is the Batman also its own thing? And this is still the Ben Affleck Batman universe, or what the fuck's happening? Is the Batman supposed to be a prequel and then he becomes Ben Affleck at some point? Like, it's all a hot mess, and it's fine. Like, I'm not too worried about continuity, and clearly DC isn't either, but it is just kind of a weird thing where this is obviously a sequel to to Suicide Squad. You know, it's not hiding that. You know, this is the same Harley. We fortunately do not see Jared Leto or his iteration of the Joker in this film. We only kind of sort of see a stand-in at times. But, you know, the Joker is still very much a part of this film in a way, in the sense that, you know, Harley experiences immunity and then she doesn't as a result of, you know, her signaling the end of their relationship and such. But, I liked, you know, in terms of just the characters, Harley is Harley, take it or leave it. Bruce the Hyena was fun. I'm glad he made it out alive. It's a big relief that Bruce made it out. I liked Dinah. I liked Black Canary. I think she was definitely my favorite of
I agree.
the Birds of Prey. I think she's the one that worked the best. I think there was enough characterization there. I think it's a little wonky, the Canary Cry stuff of why she doesn't use that power. Like they clearly designed it in a way that it seems to hurt her when she does in fact use it. But the whole movie, I'm just thinking, why isn't like,
and then when she finally does
she not have it, or is she or are they going to save it for a big third act moment? And I'm just like, does it break the movie if she uses it in the third act? And everyone's just like, why the fuck didn't you use that before? But they tried to kind of hand wave it of just being, well, my mom died and she had the same powers, and now I don't want to follow in her footsteps and stuff like that. I just kind of feel like they could have handled it a little bit more gracefully to kind of make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, because she does it, and I literally just went, okay,
Yeah, I was just waiting for it to come, and I was just like, oh, maybe they're just going to do like a setup where she gets the Canary Cry or something like that, and that's why she hasn't been doing it this whole movie. But no, clearly she's had it the whole time.
The suits at the end were goofy as fuck.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. Yeah, not great, Bob. Not great. But yeah, she was good. I liked her. I liked the casting. I thought that she did a good job, and definitely the best presence. I think of the Birds of Prey and Montoya again. I just don't know why she's there. I didn't need that storyline. I mean, I guess it just kind of felt like it was kind of a weird inclusion more than anything else. Like the Batman part of the universe is like crossed off the list, so they like had to go down and be like, who's the third Birds of Prey? And like, blah, blah. Renee Montoya. She's never been a part of the Birds of Prey in the comics history in its entire existence, but fuck it. What'd you think of Cassandra? She's the kind of girl, and now Harley's apprentice by the end of the film.
I liked her character second best.
Yeah, I liked her. But they did this weird thing where they took the name of a character from the comics that has absolutely nothing to do with the character that they put on screen. And that just pisses me off. Marvel's done it before. Like DC's done it before too. But it's like they literally took a character who is basically a silent badass assassin in the comic books and turned her into like a loudmouth, petty thief child. And I'm just like, huh? You did what? It's just like don't name her that. Like, it's really just as simple of just give her a different name. Like, you clearly just made up a new character for this, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong. I think it's just dumb, and it's just like, well, we made up this entirely new character, but we're gonna bring this comic book character to life, and like I just find it silly when any company does that. It's just weird. It just bothers me, and I think it's something that if you don't fucking care about Cassandra Cain, or you have no idea who Batgirl or Orphan is, like, then it's not going to bother you. But
yeah, I didn't know who that was. I also didn't know who
just bizarre.
Renee Montoya is. I didn't know who that is either.
Yeah, I knew who Montoya was from the comics. And like I didn't think it was a bad iteration of like who Montoya is.
Is she just a cop, pretty much?
Yeah, she's just a detective for GCPD. She intertwines with Batman a lot. I think she was the Question for some run in the comics. So it's kind of one of those things. It's like, if you're gonna make her part of this kind of vigilante team, why don't you actually give her kind of
like an alter
some
ego?
Sort of alter ego? But maybe they built to that in the sequel. That's not going to happen. So, but yeah. Black Mask was, I thought Black Mask and Zsasz were good villains, like kind of weird, different kind of takes, I think, for each of them. But
I would have never portrayed Black Mask in that way.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, but I think for what they were, and he did at least wear the Black Mask for like a minute of screen time, which is not very much in the scheme of things, but Zsasz was very much kind of, a weird, fucked up serial killer asshole. So like, I thought they did a good job with him. Just making him, a weird creeper. So, yeah, I think, I kind of think I don't have any other thoughts on it.
That's it. I'm out. That's all I have.
All out of thoughts?
All out of thoughts.
Fresh out of thoughts, huh? So yeah, Birds of Prey and the you get it. Again, you still get it. It's a big, long title, and it's the Birds of Prey. So see it if you want. Don't see it if you don't want to. Wait for Blu-ray, streaming, whatever you want to do. It's fun. It's you could do far worse with your time, is what we can say. Certainly. I actually want to jump into the listener's corner real quick, if that's okay.
Listener's corner. We're going to the corner
because we haven't done it in a hot minute, and our good pal Bruce Brown has been sending many an email, and I haven't had the chance to talk about it yet, but I will now. So I think there's 5 or 6 emails in here, maybe. We'll see. So I'm just going to kind of go in order and just kind of spit them out at you, and if you want to comment on it, feel free. Thoughts on 2019. I have an email from him talking about the TV side of the house, saying Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is excellent. Also thought Chernobyl was excellent. Didn't dig Watchmen. Said he gave up during episode 4 and didn't get it at all. So that's definitely a different take than mine. But I think you would like Watchmen. Just as an aside, I'm not sure of his familiarity with the graphic novel, and I think that's kind of important to the show.
Okay.
So I think that's part of it, but it's weird. It's weird and out there. So I can kind of see how it's not for everyone. Expanse season 4 was excellent, and his personal top 5. The Umbrella Academy, not top 5, but good. Good Omens, entertaining, great acting. Did you watch that? Did you watch Good Omens?
I did.
You didn't even put it. Did you forget about it? Would that have made your top 5 retroactively? Maybe.
What was it?
Not quite there yet.
I can't remember my top 5. Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, I
forgot about it.
I know we didn't talk about it at all, and I watched the first episode, didn't watch further, but The Boys, top 5 for him, liked it a lot. And he said he's going to look into The Good Place again, gave up during season 1. Bad take. Watch it. It's all on Netflix. Movies, he found Ad Astra to be a sleeper. Quote unquote, did anything happen other than he found that guy from Men in Black in space? Visually cool, boring as hell.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, fair enough take, but I don't. Not that I totally agree with it, but I can kind of see that perspective from it.
That was Sarah's perspective on it.
Right. Yeah. I don't think it's an uncommon, I guess, take. Lion King, visually amazing. It was a bunch of talking celebrities, animals. Seth Rogen played Seth Rogen, and it ruined the movie. We said et cetera, et cetera. So not specifically Seth Rogen, but just kind of that. Which, yeah, kind of fair. I mean, I think the cartoon's that way in its own sort of way, but it's just not so fucking jarring. And so I think maybe it's more jarring here. Marriage Story was disturbing, but excellent. You thought I was going to ignore Scarlett's acting because she was equally good in it, but I didn't. He thought the best was Ray Liotta as the attorney. He thought Us was okay, nothing he'd want to watch again, and Rocketman, not top 10, but solid good. So that's the thoughts on the 2019s. A few other thoughts as a follow-up email. The Netflix documentary about Aaron Hernandez was very good. Netflix's Don't Fuck with Cats on the Internet, limited series documentary. Well done. Only 4 parts, moved at a good pace. He recommends it.
Okay.
Bottom of the 6th has the guy from True Blood, who was a werewolf, which I believe is Joe Manganiello. Fair, predictable, but entertaining enough. I think it's a baseball movie. I don't know, whatever. I'm sure it's right up your alley. It Chapter 2, he says he was a little let down by it, and it was one of his favorite books, but the movie didn't convey that well at all. Likes the original better. I assume the original being the
Tim Curry
90s. Yeah, if I had to guess. Killerman. Oh God, that sucked. I don't even know what that is, so can't disagree there. Lucy in the Sky, thought was overall okay. Natalie Portman was great in it, just sort of ended loosely fact-based, could have been much better. Didn't see that one. Dark Phoenix, horrible.
Okay.
The reality is that Sophie Turner can't act. She's there because she was cast as a kid in Game of Thrones. She sucks. Jennifer Lawrence also sucks in these movies. Just stupid shit overall. might be my favorite review. Might be my favorite so far. The Art of Self-Defense. I still hate this guy for playing such a shitty Lex Luthor in the DC movies, but this movie was good, fun, and entertaining. Talking about Mark Zuckerberg, whatever his actual name is, Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
Bit dark, much better than you might suspect. I liked it. The Irishman. Too long, just overall okay. Personally thinks it's overrated because De Niro's in it, so it must be good. Pacino, he says, was excellent in it, though. Overall good, not great, way too long. Can't disagree there. He chimed in on Star Wars. Thought you were getting away from Star Wars again.
Nope. Psych.
As if. He says that we used to have the original VHS trilogy set.
Nice.
And then I guess we got the DVD version, Blu-ray version subsequently. He says the movie-going experience, just seeing it in theaters was amazing. He says he remembers lines around the theater to see it. Saw the first one at least 4 times.
Nice.
So that's really cool. Loved Empire. He says that Return of the Jedi, he's always had a credibility issue with it, in the sense that Luke is now a Jedi Master, but he still seems to be like a whiny bitch. So he kind of struggled with that in the sense that he spent a few nights in the swamp with Yoda, and now we're supposed to believe that he's a master.
That's hilarious.
Whereas it seems in the prequels, the path to being a master was, many years, of actually doing things as opposed to just a few days in a swamp and such.
Right.
So not unfair, but he had to make do with what he had available to him. He chimed in on the Arrow finale, which is now officially over. Rest in peace to Arrow the series. He says he has to admit that it was good and a bit sad to see an end to the series. I'll avoid some spoilers here because he kind of put some spoilers in here. But he says it was a great series, but also really bad at times, pretty bad at times. But in the end, he had a good feeling about it. No regrets watching it. Which hopefully I will feel that in the 3 years that it will take me to get caught up. As far as the other shows, he gave up on Supergirl. He says Batwoman needs to kick it up a notch or it's doomed. Flash is just Flash, not good, not horrible. And Legends is probably the most entertaining of all of them, which not shocking.
Right.
Joker, he really, really liked. He thought the acting and the writing was superb. Probably the best, most believable origin story that he can recall. Doesn't need to see it again, but thought it was excellent. Disagree, but that's nice to have opinions. It's for me, it's a well-made piece of shit. That's my personal hot take on Joker. Terminator Dark Fate, he liked it, didn't understand the timeline, was kind of confused of where it took place. To answer your question, it does in fact take place after T1 and T2 happen. It ignores the others. Had some major gaps, but action was good, thought the cast was good. Linda Hamilton looked a little bit dated, but thought she pulled it off. Not sure that there was a need for this movie, as there are like 9 other ones already, and the rest sort of ranked from fair to god-awful crap, which is true. Terminator 3 is in fact the one with Arnold carrying a casket around with a big gun in it. I believe it's the fake casket for Sarah Connor. But she is very much alive in this movie, so yes, Terminator 3 does not exist anymore, which is fine. He saw the new Midway with Woody Harrelson in it, and did not like it. Well, he says he's only halfway through it when he wrote the review, but he was not liking the casting, I guess. Woody Harrelson wasn't digging it, wasn't digging Dennis Quaid. Thought Aaron Eckhart was okay, and bunch of douchebag, egocentric pilots, and it's just not great stuff. But maybe it'll improve in hour 2. I don't think we got a follow-up to that, though, so I'm assuming that it did not. And last but not least, he chimes in on Jojo Rabbit and says, loved it, great movie. Who thinks up these amazing scripts? The answer is one, Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi.
On the case, clever, humorous, well-acted, and just a really enjoyable movie.
God damn it, I wish I saw that movie.
I think it's out on digital now, maybe?
Nice.
And then Blu-ray, I think, is maybe the end of the month, beginning of March, something like that. So anyway, all those words are to say that Bruce Brown has been a busy man flying around watching movies on airplanes, and he's
awesome.
generous enough to write in and share some thoughts, and some of those we agree with, and some of those we disagree with. But
and so should
have
you,
some opinions in
fellow
there.
listeners.
So should you. Yes, absolutely. So if you want to be part of the Listener's Corner, want to have some recognition, send us your thoughts on some films, TV, whatever you're watching. watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. We'd be happy to hear about it. And I'd be happy to hear about what you've been up to, Mr. Andrew Meadows. What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Started the Center.
Yep, the new season.
Yep.
Good so far?
Yeah, I like the show, man. I like Bill Pullman.
Bill Pullman, yeah.
I'm a big Bill Pullman's a pretty fucking cool dude. I like Bill Pullman.
I think so too. I agree.
Real understated dude. I feel like, I don't know. I'd like to see him around a little bit more. I like him. Let's see. What else have I done? It's hard to think. I should write my shit out as I do it. I know I started The Biggest Loser. Have you ever watched The Biggest Loser?
No, I've never watched The Biggest Loser. You brought this up unsolicited on the last episode, and then we never quite went back to it. So now we're coming full circle
Full
here.
circle, okay.
So what's going on with The Biggest Loser?
Biggest Loser is about large people.
Yes.
And
losing weight?
yeah, that's right. Yes, losing weight. So it's fucked up. I'll tell you what's fucked up about this show.
Okay.
Right? So this is what I don't understand, right? You got the personal trainers and you got these people competing to lose weight, but guess what happens if you don't lose enough weight?
They kick you off?
They kick you off the fucking show, send you back home.
You're too fat.
So-
Go home.
Yeah, man, it's fucked up.
Go get your own personal trainer.
No, they do give you. They send you home with a personal trainer.
well,
And they
I
say,
suppose
okay,
that's nice.
you can still compete and you can do this. Okay, but listen, you're on a TV show, all right, and you're sitting there, you're working, you're trying your best to lose the weight and everything else. Okay, and you already struggle with self-esteem issues and self-worth and blah 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 blah. And now you suck too much. Get off our show. What's that do to you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's kind of fucked up. Anyways, so we started that show. It's a good show. I think it's all right. It's pretty good. I enjoy watching it. Of course, The Bachelor's been going on. We get that tomorrow. Big Bachelor guy. Watch these shows with Sarah. She likes these shows. I drag her to Harley Quinn. She fell asleep in Harley Quinn. She was not a fan. So in return, I'll cook dinner and I'll watch these shows with her. I felt like I did something. I watched something or I did something, but I can't think of it right now. Of course, I watched The Lighthouse, and we talked about that on our review, right?
Yep, we got into it a bit.
Parasite. I think those were like the last two biggest movies I watched. I don't think I've seen anything recently. Been working around the house and stuff, which is cool. So I'm starting to renovate the master bathroom. Not renovate, just give it freshen it up a bit. Been trying to sell my pops.
I know what you saw.
What did I see?
You saw Rambo.
Yes, I did see Rambo. I did see Rambo.
Last Blood? Is that what it's called?
Rambo Last Blood. That's it. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I watched. I watched Rambo Last Blood. Rambo Last Blood is a steaming pile of shit. That movie's fucking bad. It's real bad. Yeah, actually, at one point, spoilers for Rambo Last Blood.
I don't think anyone cares, but go for it.
Yeah, rips a dude's heart out, like Dumb and Dumber style.
Nice.
Rips
Very cool.
He cuts his chest open, rips his beating heart out, and then sticks it in a paper bag and gives it to him while he's hanging on the wall. And
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you're saying this movie is not awesome? I'm confused.
No, it's definitely terrible. He doesn't stick it in a paper bag either. He just throws it on the ground. But yeah, real fucking bad movie. Stupid shit, man. It's real bad. Don't watch it. And I thought I watched something else up there while I was up there, but I don't think I did. I think that was the big one. Tried to watch Men in Black 3, but I fell asleep in it. Still haven't seen it. And then it was, and I ended up buying the last Rambo. I bought it digitally and watched it, and it was a mistake. Big mistake.
I hope you didn't spend too much.
No, I don't know. Yes, I did spend too much. Any amount of money was too much.
I didn't get paid to watch this, therefore I spent too much.
That's it. We went dirt bike riding. I've been doing a lot of enduro riding. That was fun. I'm going to get a GoPro and put it on my helmet for when I ride the motocross and stuff. So when I see cool things, I can document it, which is pretty neat. I haven't done it yet, but that's what I intend to do.
Cool.
And I think that's it. I think that's all I've been really up to.
Cool.
Yeah. What have you been up to, man?
I got a decent amount of things to catch you up on. On the film side of things, it's been a few weeks now, but I saw Weathering with You, which is the latest from Your Name's director, Makoto Shinkai. It's not Your Name, but it's really good. I will say that. I didn't know anything really about it walking in, other than I expected beautiful animation and some sort of sad story or some sort of story that was going to fuck me up in the way that Your Name did. And I don't think it quite hit those highs. But it was really, really good. It was a beautiful film, and I recommend it. I don't think it's playing in theaters anymore, but it's one I think that you'd enjoy if you picked up the Blu-ray whenever it comes
All
along.
right. Noted.
So yeah, and I saw it in Japanese with English subtitles as well. So glad I saw it. Glad I ended up catching it because it got a like a little limited theatrical release. So it was kind of cool to see that. Whereas Your Name, I never had that opportunity. So that was nice. Sat down and watched all 17 hours of The Irishman on Netflix. It's fine. Like, it's fine, I guess. Like, it's mostly well made. The editing's bad in it. I mean, it jumps around a lot, and I guess that's kind of handled well, but there's some weird fucking cuts in it. Like, some bizarre... It seems like jump cuts, but they just look like bad cuts. Like, literal... like... characters jumping from one spot of the frame to like 3 inches to their right, and like no one thinking that that's weird. Like, I don't know,
That's
it's bizarre.
Weird. That is weird.
It's just too fucking long, and it would work better as a miniseries, I think. The de-aging technology in it is sometimes fine, and sometimes it's terrible. For some reason, towards the beginning, Robert De Niro looks like Bryan Cranston, and it was very bizarre, I thought. And I just think some of it's, there's been a lot of kind of talk about, there's like a scene where Robert De Niro beats up a guy at a grocery store, and it's supposed to be like probably a 30-year-old Robert De Niro, but it was clearly played by a 90,000-year-old Robert De Niro, and it looks like it. And like it looks like an old man beating up someone, just the way that he moves. And it's just like, if you're going to have that much attention to detail with the way you de-age, maybe put a fucking body double in there so it doesn't look like a 90-year-old man beating up on someone.
Yeah,
just like the way he's like hunched up, and it's just like, yeah. I was talking to my friend, and he was just like, yeah, as soon as I got to the scene, I had to turn the shit off. I couldn't deal with it anymore. It was just like,
wow.
He was just like, this is dumb. And maybe that's extreme or whatever, but I just think it's totally fine as a movie. It's far from Scorsese's best, and De Niro's good in it, and Pacino's good in it, and Joe Pesci's good in it. It's fun to see Joe Pesci back, after
I like
years
him.
of kind of stepping away from acting. But it's fine. It's just too fucking long for what it is. Like, it's not gripping. It kind of ends with a whimper. I don't know. Like, it didn't win anything, like I said, for the Oscars, and I'm kind of glad because I don't know why it was recognized other than the fact that it was made by someone that has done good shit in the past. Like, that's it. Like, that's the only reason I think that it was worthy of any mention is if Scorsese's name wasn't on it, no one would give a fuck about it. It's kind of how I feel of it. And, and I guess maybe kind of what, my dad said about, Robert De Niro's on it, so it's, a big deal. But, like, De Niro's done a lot of fucking shit in the past decade, so it's not like he's some primo actor these days. So, and he's good in it. Pacino's good in it. And he said Pesci's good in it, but, like...
I'm watching the grocery store scene.
Oh, are you looking? Okay. It's just bad. It's just like, don't you look at the dailies and think, oh, fuck, we've got to redo this whole thing.
Like the way he's like stomping his feet around and stuff.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
Oh, man.
So yeah, that's The Irishman. I'd say it's a hard pass. I watched it just out of compulsion because I'd heard it was good, and it's got excellent reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. So I may just be in the minority. I don't think it's a bad film. I just think it's completely fine. Frozen 2 I saw again, and I fucking loved it. Glad I picked it for best animated film personally because it hit me in all the feels the second time through. The songs, got me going. Really, really, really loved Frozen 2. So highly recommend. I think it's still hanging around in some theaters, so if you can catch it and you haven't, I would recommend you do so. I rewatched one of my favorites. This is my last for the film side of things. I rewatched one of my favorites, I Love You, Man. I showed it to Anna for the first time.
Oh, she'd never seen it?
She'd never seen it. She really enjoyed it, so we are still in a relationship, which is good. Slapping the bass and such, yeah. And it's good. I love it. It's so much fun. I love Paul Rudd. I love Jason Segel, and those two on screen together. It's just magic, man. So I love You, Man. Unabashedly, highly recommend that. Switching over to the TV side, I watched the end of The Good Place. I've seen all of The Good Place. Its finale has aired. The series has concluded, and I thought it went out on a really nice note. the penultimate episode, the second and last episode, I thought actually probably would have been a better ending overall. The last episode was kind of just a little bit more information than I probably wanted, in the sense that certain characters got like an ultimate resolution that I either liked or didn't love. Some I guess some I liked more than others, and some I kind of just felt like, oh, I don't know if I needed that. But I think the more that I've kind of reflected on it since it's aired, I think it really kind of hit the mark for the most part with how it ended and how it wrapped everyone's storylines up. So it's a good 4-season package, where each season I think is only 13 episodes. So it's, first 3 seasons are on Netflix. If you're looking for a half-hour comedy, I think it's really well written. It's very clever, very well acted, and I think it's an easy recommendation for me. So yeah, check out The Good Place. It's my recommendation. Last but not least, on the television side of things, your boy's been watching some Arrowverse shows.
Nice.
Don't even worry about it. So where I'm at. So last time we spoke, I talked about watching the crossover Crisis on Earth X. What I learned is that was not the mid-season finale for all of the shows. They each had another episode that aired before Christmas, and then they came back after Christmas, and I have now seen a grand total of 13 episodes since we last spoke.
You're grinding them out, man.
Nine episodes since we last spoke. I don't know how to count. But I watched the mid-season finales for all the shows. I watched the mid-season premieres for all the shows, including the series premiere of Black Lightning, which is now part of my list. So I started Black Lightning. I thought the pilot was fun. Enjoyed it. Certainly better than the likes of The Flash, which had a trial for Barry Allen. He's on trial for murder. He's being framed for murder. And I watched this episode before, and I didn't think anything of it, but I've been in law school for 1.5 years now, and I watched it again, and it is the worst fucking depiction of a courtroom setting I've seen possibly in my entire life. Barry Allen's lawyer is the worst lawyer I've ever seen. And bad lawyers are a dime a dozen. But this is a special kind of bad.
That's funny.
And just everything about it was just fucking.
How do you lock Barry Allen
wild.
up? Exactly.
Well, he's willingly being locked up because he's trying to prove his innocence, and he doesn't want to expose his secret identity and such. So the thinkers outthought him.
Oh. So, except if well, I lost. I guess I have to.
Except if he had a competent lawyer, he would be walking free. My favorite thing is that his lawyer is Joe's girlfriend, who is the district attorney or an assistant district attorney, and so she's taking a leave of absence from the district attorney's office to be a defender, to be a defense attorney. I'm just like, that's a bold move. That's a bold move.
That's hilarious.
And clearly, she's not suited to be a defense lawyer. It's real dumb.
I think. I think as you progress through law school, I think you'll find these depictions of lawyers egregious. I think you'll probably see that.
Probably. I've heard My Cousin
frequently.
Vinny, which I haven't watched, is like one of the best depictions of lawyers, like actual
My Cousin Vinny
depictions. Yeah. Also with Joe Pesci.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that
Marissa
a lot. Yeah, that's a good movie. It's really good.
Yeah. And I thought Marriage Story recently actually did a really good job with kind of family law, from my exposure to family law, which isn't as much as my exposure to criminal law. But yeah. And then finally, I fucking read a book, dude. I read a whole ass book.
Damn.
I read all of Star Wars Aftermath. I finished it.
And was it good?
I liked it. Yeah, it was fun. It's a weird present. It's written in the present tense, so it's kind of a weird prose style. In the way that it works. It almost feels like you're reading a script in some ways, where just like how it describes the action, but then in other instances when it's more describing things, it feels weird. I think it's good for actiony type things, and it kind of makes you feel in the moment, but other times it's weird. So, I enjoyed it a lot. It's mostly Star Wars characters that we haven't met before, so it's kind of a new cast of characters. The only real there's interludes that kind of happen that I think there's interludes with Akbar that come up, and I think Han and Chewie pop up in one and stuff like that. So it's it does bring some other characters, but for the most part it's mostly new characters. The only character who's not actually new but is basically new because he's not really a character in the sequel trilogy is there's a younger version of Snap, Wexley.
Okay.
when he's a teenager, that shows up. But he's, again, he's not a character in the sequel trilogy, so all of his personality is completely, kind of invented for the novel here.
Right.
But it's good. I started on the second one, Life Debt, only like 25 pages in, and it seems cool. It's the same writer, mostly the same cast of characters so far, so it seems like it's just kind of picking up right with where it left off. So, yeah.
Cool.
I read a whole ass book. I'm proud of myself.
Congratulations, man.
I don't do it very often, so that's why. So yeah, that's it for my side of things. I think that's it.
Thank
you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. If you want to support us on Patreon, that would be lovely. We are on Patreon at patreon.com/watchreviewrepeat. Alternatively, you can head to our website, watchreviewrepeat.com. Patreon, $2 a month gets you access to bonus episodes ahead of anyone else, gets you access to all of our regular episodes ahead of anyone else, and we appreciate your support. As we talked about at the top of the episode, we've gotten 10,000 downloads because podcasting is free, and that's great. But if you love us so much that you feel compelled to throw us a few bucks, we will absolutely not turn you down, and we'll very much be humble and appreciative of that. So yeah, we try to throw the bonus episodes out there as a way to kind of reward our Patreon supporters, and we are hoping to sit down and finally talk about The Mandalorian in depth, talk about The Witcher Season 1 in depth. So hopefully our patrons can look forward to at least one of those episodes, hopefully in the next week or two, if we can find the time for that.
Many cool things to talk about.
Absolutely. And then I think following that, we'll probably try to get on track with kind of our usual monthly bonus episode type release schedule, but Andrew and I have yet to really discuss that, so we will save that talk for another time. You can follow us on Twitter. We are at WRRPod. You can like us on Facebook. Just search for Watch, Review, Repeat. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, again, you want to be featured on the Listener's Corner, hit us up, watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. Our intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. On our next episode, it's one we've all been waiting for. I got to say, if you want to see it, you got to go fast to your nearest cinema and see Sonic the Hedgehog. It's out now. It's reviewing maybe better than expected, I would say. And it's doing quite well. And we'll talk about it on an episode coming, hopefully not too far after this one. But yes, our next episode will be covering that little blue hedgehog Sonic. And boy, howdy. I mean,
I'm excited to talk about it. You gotta be excited
for this one, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun episode for sure.
So we'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks again for supporting us, getting us to 10,000. Well, here's to another 10,000, we hope. Yeah, Andrew?
Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Laters on the Menjay.